everyone, and welcome to New Trials, the podcast. I'm Preya.
And I'm Melanie.
The New Trials of Cardcaptor Sakura Sharon and Friends is a popular ongoing fanfic by Wishlove, and it's based off of Climb's Cardcaptor Sakura. In each episode, we usually dive into a new chapter, but today we are doing our long-awaited Q&A with Wish-chan!
Yay!
So we asked all of our listeners to send in questions, and of course, Melanie and I had our own questions, whether it came from the podcast discussion or just things we were always wondering. And Wish-chan graciously replied, and we got our answers. We're super excited, and we're going to be diving in. Melanie, do you want to get started?
Oh my God, I would absolutely love to. I've been looking forward to this all day at work. I wasn't able to focus on literally anything after Preya said we got her answers. And so anyways, I am so excited. Here we go, guys. Okay. So the first part is we're going to ask questions that just kind of arose during our podcast that Preya and I kind of posed back and forth to each other. So question number 1, what was your exact age when you started writing New Trials, 12 or 13? And basically, Wish-chan answered 13 years old. CCS began airing in Korea in June 1999. And I began drafting the first chapters in late summer 1999 and published the first chapters that fall.
So now that makes sense. So I guess drafting is when she was 12, and then when it was actually publishing time, she was 13. Question number 2. Would it be fair to deduct that it was the riddle who recited the poetry in chapter 4? Wish-chan said, the riddle wasn't created when I wrote chapter 4, though it was definitely one of the earlier new dark forces I had planned. But that is the perfect deduction looking back.
Yay, I'm glad she did my headcanon. My headcanon of her fanfiction.
I know, and that's the fun thing. Like, even though she didn't come out, she can like retroactively make things happen.
I like it. I like it. And then question number 3 is, does Toya know about Ryurin? If yes, how much did he know about him? And then Wish-chan answered, Toya knows of him, probably saw Ryurin when he made that final visit to Japan with Shaoran to see Nadesico before he died. And Toya would have been old enough to remember Ryurin and be suspicious of him, unless he was at school. But Toya definitely doesn't know of Ryurin in the way that Sakura does, or the depth of his relationship with Nadesico, only has some inklings of it.
Oh, that's
interesting.
Totally fair. I totally see that happening, because it's not like Toya to be completely left in the dark, but there's no way that he has the same scope that Sakura does.
That is super interesting. I didn't see that coming at all. Very interesting.
Number 4. When is Ryurin's birthday? Melanie thinks he's a Gemini. Wish-chan says, I have to decide this on the spot. I always knew he was born in the winter. Definitely a Capricorn. Definitely at the beginning of the year, not the end. Why not January 14th? I don't know much about horoscopes, but my friends, they tell me, oh, Capricorns, they're hardworking. They're hardworking.
Yes, yeah. And well, I know in like the women's spectrum, they tend to be like motherly, and so I could see on like the men's perspective of them being like overly manly, so I could see that. So question number 5, if you could re-describe the size of the Amiya diamond, how would you do it? And Wish-chan answered, a globe the size of a pigeon's egg, aka 118 carats. Holy
Seriously
moly.
typing pigeon's egg to see what the size is.
Yes, please. Maybe I'll do the same.
Ooh, yeah, that's way more than a fingernail.
Holy moly, for sure. Good Lord. No wonder. I mean, it's a good thing Sakura didn't wear that in the ice. She would have sunk to the bottom.
That's cool. Yeah, because like if you think about her Hang a Shining Star fan art, it's pretty much similar to what she drew. the size wise.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, that's
Question.
definitely more what I picture in my head,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
No, for sure. Question number 6. What is the age difference between Fujitaka and Fujiko? How old was Fujiko when Fujitaka left? Wish-chan answers, around 10 years. Fujitaka left when he was 18 years old, so she would have been 9-ish. That I found very interesting.
For sure. That's a pretty big age gap. But my older brother and I, we have a 15-year age gap.
Yeah, and let's not forget the age gap between Fujitaka and Nina.
So true. So
So you know
true.
what?
But
It
yeah,
tracks.
so true. But that is super interesting. And then question number 7, is the madman a ghost or a zombie, or is he still alive but dead inside? And Wish-chan answered, closer to a ghost, a resentful spirit with unfinished business, hence he had a physical form. But I like to leave supernatural parts a bit ambiguous, so it's up to the reader to decide.
That's very fair. And it reminds me of Casper, the movie, with like his uncles were all like had unfinished business and even the guy's wife had unfinished business. So I totally get that. And I like how she said about ambiguousness because it's like I read that chapter twice for the podcast and I had different thoughts, like in two different readings. So she definitely did a good job there.
For sure. Yeah, completely agree.
Question number 8. Why was Aaron doing a science experiment before the winter concert? Wish-chan says, it wasn't literally a science experiment. Aaron was always fiddling with spells and potions in his spare time to awaken and make strong dark forces. That makes sense.
Question 9. Have you ever had a bad phys ed injury? A boy, and then Wish-chan answered, a boy kicked a soccer ball straight into my face during gym class, and I got a huge bruise on my eye. It was linked to a precious memory for me since my secret crush helped me up and asked if I was okay. Oh, wait, I wrote this exact scene straight into NT chapter 14 when Sakura gets struck by a soccer ball. That happened literally word for word down to this scene. By the time they arrived in the infirmary, Sakura could see blearily through both eyes, though she felt the staining mark of the hard soccer against her right eye and cheek. You must be glad, Erika commented. Why? Sakura asked, pressing her fingers against her eye to stop the pain. That the guy you liked helped you up and supported you in everything when you got hurt, Erika said teasingly, yet dryly. Erika's lines were verbatim from this spiteful girl in gym class who also liked the same boy. Naive me was shocked when she knew I liked him too back then. Ah, memories. Anyway, I swear that's the only scene in NT that I so shamefully ripped from my own experience like that.
That is such a gem.
So good. I mean, we knew it had to be something because the way she describes the injury is just like perfect.
Oh, this is amazing. Like, when an author writes, it's from like experiences from her real life, but when she's like, yeah, this is copy paste. I love it. I love it. Question number 10. Did Viren know that the sapphire ring was a Five Force treasure? Wish-chan answers definitely, which is why it was all the more meaningful that he wanted to give it to Nadeshiko. Ah.
Interesting. So cool.
Oh, it's like what's the term for it when you're going against your family? Um, I don't have
Rebelling.
rebelling. Yes, teenage rebellion at its finest.
I'm going to give away this precious family treasure to a girl I've fallen in love with at age 16. I love it. Let's see here. Question number 11. What was the Lee clan's reaction when Ryu-Red gave the ring to Nadeshiko? Wish-chan said chaos, bemoaning, threatening of disownment, but ultimately Ryurin was so powerful in the clan during those days, nobody could really make him listen. And they figured that the Five Force treasure is safe in the hands of an Amiya. And so long as they knew where it was, it could be retrieved easily, as opposed to falling in the hands of the Dark Ones.
Nice. Because like they're Elise and here they are with a reed like heirloom. So technically, as long as it's not under like Chang's control, that's totally fair. I feel
Yeah.
that we're getting like a parallel story to what we've been reading these last few months, and I love it.
I'm fangirling so hard. I'm trying to keep it together, but oh my God, this is like everything.
Oh, question number 12. Was the shadowy figure that Sakura saw at Shing's the stalker or the Kaiju magician? And Wish-chan answers, I don't know exactly which reference you were referring to, so it could be either as Kaiju magician, who was also lurking in New York around this time. So, Melanie, you haven't been denied in any shape or form.
Oh, Wish Chan, I appreciate you keeping my little head canon just to go in. But I like that she keeps it ambiguous though. Like I do love that. I love that it's up to the reader to decide things. I do appreciate that. All right. So now we are moving forward to Priya's questions that she posed for Wish Chan. So Priya's first question was, are there any Easter eggs in Arc 1 that you know about, but nobody else made a comment about it? Oh, such a good question, Priya. And Wish Chan answered, New Trials readers are so shrewd that they picked out a lot of Easter eggs, if not immediately, then in retrospective after reading future arcs. If they didn't mention theories in the NT Yahoo community and elsewhere, some mailed them to me and made me really smug. It's been a while since I've looked back at Arc 1. I get embarrassed sometimes. It was written when I was so young, but I did a lot of foreshadowing, I realized. I didn't recall that I'd already foreshadowed the plague since the end. Chapter 17, Miho speaking about Iro. I told him that he looks like a grandpa without glasses. Miho stated teasingly, but I couldn't get him to cut his glossy hair off and spike it with gel. Don't you think he would look cute that way? Miho clearly had a style preference from the beginning. Her brother. So that must have been an early teaser for Kai.
Melanie, we didn't pick up on that, did we?
We did not.
I don't remember we picked up on that.
I think I remember thinking it when I was reading, when I was like, doing the audiobook, and then it just like went boop.
I didn't pick that up.
I love that people have mailed her. That's insane. That is so cool.
Oh, I love that. I love that. No, I know that like she's received so many emails, and I know that people even like personally emailed her fan arts, but Hotmail crashed and she lost a lot of those precious messages, unfortunately. But I'm sure she still has memories. But like for her to single that out, I definitely did not pick that up in my deep dive.
Oh, so cool.
So this is just the New Trials art curator of me that asks, do you have any Arc 1 related work in progresses tucked away in your sketchbooks? So that would you like to share with us? And she says, definitely, and I will hunt them up. So Wish-chan, I can't wait.
Yay!
Mhm. So question number 3 is, what is the one scene in Arc 1 that you would love to see illustrated? So as Chen says, toddler Sakura and Sharan meeting for the first time under the Sakura tree, or a rendition of Shing's Another Beginning piece, which we've seen that I posted up. So she actually liked that post, so I think she sees it now. And the destruction piece mentioned in chapter 17 and 18 with Ryuren's sword pointing at Nadeshiko's neck, which I know I've sketched several times actually, referring back to the previous questions. and Sharon with the angel wings catching Sakura falling off the Empire State Building from chapter 20. I did a piece with Sharon and dragon wings, so that kind of suffices. So
Such a good question.
I think Wish-chan answered this before she saw my post for chapter 20. And then I think in retrospect, she's like, "Oh, look, well, it's exactly what I talked about."
Oh, so good. Okay, and then we're going to move on to my questions. So my first one for her was, how did you discover Cardcaptor Sakura? And Wish-chan answered, my Japanese Korean friend in sixth grade gave me a pretty stationery with Tomeo and Sakura in a kimono facing each other. I didn't really learn about CCS, though, until it began airing on Korean TV in June 1999. My first intro into Clamp was through the Magic Knight Rayearth anime in 1997. I was obsessed with Magic Knight Rayearth because my favorite genre was fantasy.
Melanie, once again, if you have the chance, definitely dive into Magic Knights Rayearth. It's a beautiful series.
I'm gonna have to. I think this is the official sign.
Question number 2. What made you love the series so much that made you want to write a fan fiction? Wish-chan answers, you know those series that you know you'd love just from the trailer? CCS was like that. I knew I would love it even before I saw it. I also got that same feeling with Clamp's other masterpiece, Magic Knight Rayearth. But the moment I really fell in love with CCS was Sharon's proper appearance in episode 8, Sakura's Rival Appears. And then there was no turning back. Of course, those were the days we had to wait each week for a new episode to air on TV, and Korea was around one season behind Japanese airing time. It was one of those shows that you felt giddy about before it aired. It was literally the only anime I watched air live on NHK World in Japanese without subs, as well as for season 3. But anyhow, somewhere along the way, waiting for new episodes to air, I grew impatient, started searching the internet, and discovered the world of fanfiction for the first time. But I couldn't find any in-character canon-like CCS fanfic back in those days, and decided that if I couldn't find something, I should just write a continuation myself. CCS hadn't really finished airing then, but I'd figure the ending, S and S would separate, and here we are now. I love that story.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, that's
Oh,
great.
I kind of agree with her. Like once Shout kind of pops up on the scene in episode 8, that's when CCS really starts to take off. And especially when he starts to show feelings towards Sakura as well, that's when it just takes off for me even more and has made it just such a lovable scene. So good. So good.
Funnily enough, that's how I actually got into writing my own fan fiction. I was reading a story and the author just abandoned it. So I just took her premise and I just wrote it, just the continuation for myself. And I showed it to my friends. I'm like, oh, it's so good. You should post it. So I made some changes to make it more my own. And that's how I came up with Destined Love.
Ah, so good.
Question number 3. Did a certain thing happen that gave you the idea for the fan fiction? There was no one idea, but I think I focus very much on what I would want to see happen when Sakura and Sharon are in junior high and reunited. How would I want their relationship to unfold? What new dark force would I want to see them fight? More importantly, how would Clamp portray them? And I'm proud to say, I don't think I was very off the mark, seeing Clamp's continuation with the Clear Car arc. The plot may not be the same, but I think I sort of hit similar notes, as in developing Nadeshiko, facing new forces, Sharon's mysterious intents. We both have Kaitus, though, slightly different, and Momo equals Mooney-chan.
I never put that parallel in my head of how Shadon's acting so mysterious and clear card and how he does the same thing for like the first couple arcs in this. Like I've never put that together, but
You know what,
holy
Melanie?
moly.
I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit because when it was on the air and Wish Chan did her deep dive reviews, she made a lot of connections to New Trials and Clear Cards, and she did talk about this. And
Okay.
so you definitely knew about it, but since it's been years and years since we've seen that, we don't
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
as well. Until I read this answer, I totally forgot the whole Kaitu element in Clear Card. Like I
Yeah.
forgot that character even existed until just now.
Yeah. Same. Same.
But
So
like
cool.
if I were to ever reread Wish Chen's thorough reviews of the Clear Card, you'll see that like even the smallest details, like I think there was an off character named Mike, or like an off character, a teacher named Mori, and that was the name of the Fujitaka Kinomoto's housekeeper.
Nanny or something.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. We definitely did compare Sharon's shiftiness in Clear Card to Sharon's shiftiness in New Trials.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, question number 4. When you started New Trials, you didn't know the ending of CCS, correct? Are you surprised at how much you were able to accurately guess? And Wish Chan answered, actually, I always thought that the ending for CCS was sort of inevitable, which is why I was confident enough to write the NT prologue in the way before CCS ended. The anime ended before the manga as well. Hence, slight variations between those two endings. For me, it was more surprising that Clamp did a canon continuation of CCS through the Clear Card arc 16 years later. I thought the original CCS manga ended beautifully, and one of the reasons I wrote a CCS fanfic was that I figured there will never be a canonical continuation. I was pleasantly surprised to revisit SNS through Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle in 2003 as well, which I treated as character studies of an older AU Sakura and Shouton. I love Clamp's dedication to SNS as well, always reviving this fandom.
I know it's been over 20 years, but like Kinomoto Sakura is always going to be one of Clamp's like darlings of all of their work.
I had no idea that the anime ended before the manga. No idea. And it makes totally sense to me now why there's two different endings. Huh,
Yeah.
who knew? Wish Chan, apparently. I didn't.
Well, look, we weren't watching in real time like she was.
True, true.
Okay, question number 5. How would you describe the relationship that Sharon has with his mom? Wishan answers, Sharon reveres his mother and is very uncomfortable around her. He sees her less as a mother and more as the head of the household. He always fears that he will be a disappointment to her because he will never be able to meet up to his father. Sharon's mom dotes on her son and youngest child, but has trouble expressing her feelings, and his 4 sisters are able to spoil him, harass him enough as it is. She's always checking with Wei about what Sharon's going through, no matter how busy she is during the day running a clan business. That's sweet. You know what Yelan gives me? The grandmother in Encanto.
No.
Not the evil side of things, but just like the matriarch, powerful woman.
I get, yes. I can't stand the grandmother in Kanto. I don't care what anyone says. Even though anytime her, like, spoiler alert, but anytime her backstory comes up, it always makes me cry because my daughter's obsessed with that movie. We watch it all the time and I cry every time. But, anyways, I'll get off my Disney rant. But yes, I could see that though. Just like all the pressure of being the head of household. So all the kids revere her, but yet secretly she dotes on them from afar. I could see it. I could see it.
And I love that little tidbit of how she's always calling up Wei for Sharon updates.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Oh, so she must have been crazy when Wei left and it was just Mei Lin. So then I wonder if she was blasting up Mei Lin's phone.
Yes, yes, 100 times yes. I bet you anything that Malin's got a better relationship with Sharon's mom than he does.
For sure. Question 6. Did you have a general timeline of how you knew that on how you knew you wanted the fan fiction to go? We are under the impression you had it plotted out to yesterday's letter when you started arc 1. Is that true? Or did you know more things about arc 4 than you let on? So Wish Chan answered, stories grow organically. And I think reading back on arc 1, I definitely had much of the bigger picture in mind, more so than I thought from early on. I've had arc 4 and the whole ending plotted out for many, many years, down to the epilogues, not to mention the side stories. There was one specific night some years ago, post arc 3, that I thought out the ending scene by scene because there was still some plot questions and choices left that I think that was a very soul-wrenching night. Arcs 1 to 3 was about writing to my heart's content and what I wanted to write. And arc 4 is all about wrapping up the foundations I set in the previous arcs. I guess up to arc 3, I generally had all my ideas in my head without having to outline or take notes, besides writing out dark forces and details. But I had to actually begin outlining chapters starting arc 4, aka I used to have a better memory.
Wow, I feel we got so much out of that answer.
Oh my gosh. And my voice broke several times. I was so excited reading. I can't even.
Like, I know she has the epilogue and the endings all written out, but it's like, just as a reminder, saying it's like somewhere out there, it's written. Ah.
And she said epilogues. There's an S on the end of it, meaning there's multiple epilogues.
Yes, please.
Hold on, guys. I need a minute. I need a minute. Ooh.
Oh, there's so much good stuff to come. It's like, ah.
Oh my, but it scares me that she said it was a soul-wrenching night of planning out the ending scene by scene. That's kind of scary.
Well, it's an end of an era. And
That's true. That's true.
it's okay that New Trouse has hit the pause button now. It's like, I think we needed this time to collect ourselves before we brace ourselves for the end.
Oh Lord. She's like, I need my audience to all grow up a couple more years. Holy moly. I got chills on that answer. That was so cool. Okay. All right. I'm collected again. I'm collected.
Question number 7. What made you pick twins to be the quote unquote villains? Wish-chan answers, twins make any story more interesting, and I wanted Sakura and Sharan each to have a respective nemesis and potential love rival.
Love it. Love it. Okay. And then question 8. What's up with Sharon's apartment? Do they own the whole building? Was Sharon paying their rent the whole time? Spill. And Wish Chan answered, the Lee clan / Lee Corporation Japan owns the whole building. I don't think Sharon had regular neighbors. Who wants a neighbor who jumps around practicing sword all night long? He'd be reported to police for noise complaints.
We just discovered another New Trouse Easter egg. He doesn't have neighbors.
No wonder his sisters were like, don't I get a whole floor? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and like honestly, the only neighbor he had was Kai, who had like no trouble just moving it. So that's why Kai had no problems moving across the hall from Shaoran.
And why he was so surprised all of a sudden to be like, oh. Oh, too funny. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So that sums up part one of our Q&As. Next week, we're going to be exploring Wish Jan's answers to fan-submitted questions. For now, you've been listening to New Trials, the podcast, where it must rain for there to be a rainbow.
You've been listening to New Trials, the podcast Q&A edition with Preya and Melanie. Please be sure to check out the audiobook version of this finished Arc 1 by yours truly that you can find anywhere that you can find this podcast. Please also be sure to check out the Facebook fan page for Wish Jan New Trials, where a big part of the discussions happen nowadays. And please be sure that you stick around next time when we dive in to questions from listeners.